Yeah, and you're halfway through the... You see, you've gone serious now.
Very serious.
Right, sorry. No.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Is this it? Is this...
You see, it's better to do it this way. The idea is I'll just stick it on and you don't know I've started.
Alright.
And then you're a bit...
Idiot!
Dragon and monkey?
The Diagonal Monkey Podcast. Hello and welcome to the third episode of the Diagonal Monkey Podcast. In this episode we're speaking to the band Evans the Death, who, if you don't know them, have 2 albums out. The self-titled debut and the second album, Expect Delays, which is the one they were supporting on their recent UK tour. The band are on the Fortuna Pop label, which, if you aren't aware of, is the home of Darren Hayman, who used to be known as Hefner. I'd say used to be in Hefner, but it was basically him. And if that's not good enough to recommend the label and the band, I don't know what is. After last episode where I was spoiled by talking to Nick DeSelva of Elder, we managed to get into a basic tour bus. I said to them, last time I got to talk in a tour bus. And they said, well, we've got the van, so we went in the van. Except in the van there's 3 seats in the back and 2 seats in the front, and there's 5 members of the band and me, which doesn't work out. So there was 4 of them squeezed into the back 3 seats. The drummer sat in the driver's seat and me in the passenger seat. Except to face the band I had to kneel, and to look into their eyes I had to peek through the headrest. So you'll find that I crack up throughout this, mainly because it's just so ridiculous. Anyway, this is Evans the Death.
Yesterday. Glasgow's really, really good.
Yeah.
Best date of the tour, I think.
You think?
Yeah, nicest people. Not you know.
No, because we're all horrible down there, aren't we?
Everyone's been really nice. I think it's just nice being outside of London because everyone's like nicer.
There we go. Because you've been on tour, this is like halfway through the tour now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so how's it going on the whole?
It's kind of a tour of extremes. You know, there's been some serious drama.
Should we shut this door?
Yeah, let's not destroy your van
anymore.
They already have.
Yeah, so this is what this guy, a drunken man, attacked our van and caused hundreds of quid's worth of damage. Yeah. I left my laptop in a car park in Manchester. What else?
I mean, other than that, I've done pretty good.
There was a fight outside the venue in Liverpool. But also we've met loads of really cool people, and you know, the shows have been really good. Like we're kind of getting there musically, I think, and we've had a lot of laughter.
How's the new album going down?
Well,
it's in the
songs you're playing on the...
Yeah. Sorry, just because we're already working on like a third album stuff, so for us we're like, oh, new album.
See, there's another question.
Okay, well there you go.
I'll add that on later.
People seem to like it, yeah.
It's a 50-50 split of people who much prefer the first album, people who prefer the second.
Yeah, well, we're trying to convince them.
That the second one's better, yeah. But yeah, I think the new stuff that we're doing, like the very new stuff that hasn't been recorded yet, seems to go down all right. Because we're still funny, I think.
There's more interested about that's going down because it's more...
Yeah.
It's quite old, that second album for us. Because we recorded it, what was it, 2 years ago?
Yeah, it took ages to come out, but like, it took a long time for, you know, various boring...
Sorry, this is making me laugh. I'm looking through it. I'm trying to keep eye contact, but...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you look at us through the mirror?
Fine. Don't worry about it. I need eye contact. It just makes me get angry. So.
But anyway, so
we're enjoying playing the very new ones like the most.
I've got that one.
The lack of oxygen.
Yeah, it's fucking hot, man.
Shut the window.
Yeah.
Alright.
You can put the aircon on, and that'll probably.
Oh, that'd be better, yeah.
Just around 2.
Like I said, the problem was the last one I did was very, very serious.
Oh, really?
It was he was just a very, very serious man, and he was talking about war and peace and all this crap. And,
oh, chef nut.
Anyway.
We're not talking about war and peace, don't worry.
Oh dear. I think I just got.
Do you think we just like I think we just rub off on people like we're particularly unprofessional, so like anyone even who's like the most professional person in the world, we just like rub off on them and they have to
Okay. Moving towards the ultimate incarnation of the best thing that we can be. Like the first one had like elements of that in there, but it was like a kind of juvenile sketch, and like the second one was more of a progression towards what we ultimately want to do. So,
the first album is always like everything you've done up to that point sort of distilled down.
Yeah.
However many songs. And then I am totally professional, honestly.
I had to stop singing that time, remember? Like, singing Weekend Daddy, I had to leave the booth for like 5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
So I kept laughing at the lyrics.
Oh yeah.
So it happens.
have you heard Weekend Daddy? No one really.
I haven't heard every song by Young.
No, that one's not out, that's fine. Some people managed to have heard it somewhere.
Okay. Sorry. So the first album
is all of our stuff up until that point. And now it's new stuff.
And the second album. And the third album, apparently.
Yeah.
How easy do these songs come after? Because the first album obviously is easy because you just.
We were very, very young when we made it, and it was like.
Push through.
It was actually written in quite a short space of time. I mean, I don't think it's bad. It's like just of that age, when you're 16, 17.
And then the second album was over 2 halves. The first half we recorded, and then we went did some touring, and it was the summer, and loads of stuff happened.
But
and then did the second half of the recordings. So it was a bit more like.
We deliberately, with this one, spending as little time on it as possible to kind of make it, a bit more spontaneous and to let accidents happen.
We're all writing the songs together now as well in the rehearsal space, which is nice.
It's supposed to be. It's like it feels more urgent, in the sound.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. when I've been reading interviews as in part of the research, and you come along a lot more serious in the interviews.
Yeah.
But it depends whether we've been email questions or we're there with people, because we don't take ourselves that seriously.
We don't take ourselves
hanging out.
Yeah.
But we take what we do very seriously, and then if we're given the chance to think about it and write something down as opposed to just there.
Or sleep deprived at all.
Yeah. Or all proof.
Or is it probably just me that's just being ridiculous?
I didn't know it was funny. Oh fuck. No more.
Oh dear. I'm always interested in the less glamorous side of all this.
Oh, I don't think there is a glamorous.
You did get in a trouble once.
That's true.
If your fans will think of you as a band, won't they?
I hope so.
And I know what I mean is I think of you as a band and nothing else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't think about the personal
and they'll
life.
see your videos, or they'll see live shows with your personal life. But I'm always interested in how bands have to have normal jobs
Yeah, which none of us have at the moment.
Yeah, that's hard.
Except him, he has our job.
Oh, we have a normal job.
Well, we've had normal jobs at points.
In the pub.
It does make it incredibly difficult touring and like taking time out to make records because you can't hold on to a job, you know. You've got to work for a bit and...
Because if you want flexible hours, it tends to be things like bar work. Yeah. And like you can't, you know, and gigs are often Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, which is exactly when bars are saying, no, you have to work. So you either like book them off weeks in advance, you get anything that comes up spontaneously, either they sack you or you can't do the gigs. So it's a bit like, you have to toss up whether it's like, do I need wage this month?
Would you say it's like doing an internship?
Yeah, being in the band is like doing a very expensive internship.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why like...
I mean, like, we don't want to do it as like a hobby because it just wouldn't be as good. Like, what we do wouldn't be as good. So we're trying to devote as much of our lives to it as we can, if you know what I mean. And like, just whatever you've got to do to support that becomes part of the whole thing, of just like ploughing on.
So how does that work?
Well, barely does.
We're certainly none of us particularly well off.
So obviously that will probably influence the music, the songs, and so on.
Yeah.
Certainly the lyrics in the second album. It's just basically all about that, isn't it?
Yeah, poverty.
Just poverty.
So I'm definitely relative poverty. I want to make that clear. We're not trying to be like, yeah, we're like dying and homeless and stuff.
How do you feel about now bands are just trying, especially like smaller independent bands, are trying to make out an existence?
I think it's possible.
I think it's very noble. I think it's a brave thing to do.
It makes you realise why people do sell out after a while, because you kind of go like, I'm never going to do that. And I don't think we have at any point really, but it does make you understand why people might do it, because sometimes you just think...
followed like the sponsor route or anything like that?
No, I don't think anyone
would. I don't think that's like as negative a thing as it used to be considered.
Well, sponsorship's almost like when you get a sponsorship to college now, do you know what I mean? Like if Jack Daniels or like Fender or whatever want to give you some money so you're able to be in a band, there's nothing wrong with that. It's more like, you know, if you get your song played on an advert for like a product that you actually absolutely hate, but you go like, yeah, but they're going to give you like thousands of pounds.
Whenever I hear like a band that I like or that I know on some kind of advert, I think, oh, good for them, like, you know, they can spend more time focusing on being good rather than...
It's a good contribution.
Thank you. I was just thinking of Full with Touch Sensitive, they probably got a lot.
Oh yeah.
And like Pill, like the country
life bar.
He was saying he did it so that he could afford to take Pill on the road again.
So everyone was like, not punk, but actually it's like, well, it's only so he could carry on playing music.
Yeah. And what's gonna last longer, like a little
country life bar? To be honest, I do remember them very clearly, but doesn't detract from an artist.
It's going to end up being like a kind of entertaining footnote about him, like in years to come. But like, you know, the albums or whatever will stick around.
Okay, anyway.
And it's important that the albums, that most important thing is that you can make the albums and do the tours. You know.
Which is hard to do when you don't have loads of money behind you.
And whatever expedient is necessary, you know, shouldn't be snobby about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. You're all still quite young, compared to me. When did you realise that this was something you wanted to do properly, and something you could do successfully? And sort of, was there a turning point, or did you just carry on gigging and then?
Well, I mean, when I was about like 12 or 13, I always wanted to be in a band, but I can't play any instruments, so it was a bit like, I have to like get other people that want to do it, and it was too embarrassing to ask. So when we first started doing the band, I was like, yes, it's finally happening. But I think the main point for me when I realised like, oh, I'm actually being in a band above other stuff is when because I didn't go to uni for 3 years, I was just working in a bar. Like it was so I was able to do the band at the same time. So I guess that was one part of it, was just knowing, oh, I'm not going up for like a different career kind of thing. This is the career trajectory I'm on. What have I said now?
Just ignore me.
Okay.
Carry on.
Well, James is a bit older than us as well.
We're not as young as people, you know, say we are. Like we get like barely out of their teens.
You started quite young, didn't you?
Yeah. We started when we were like 16.
This is what I'm really going at.
Yeah. I started like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
when I say young, I mean it's like because you start quite young, and I was in bands obviously when I was in school, and everybody into music is, even if they're bad at it. It's just some people, even at a young age, manage to turn it into something.
I think it just gradually happens. You just end up, I don't know, doing more stuff and more shows, and then you're like, whoops, I've got a job now.
I think it just feels like it's the only thing that I can do with my time that just wouldn't suck and make me miserable. Although it can definitely make me miserable as well. But
yeah. I think also, I mean, it helps when people get like lucky breaks as well, you know. Like you definitely, most people, you know, that are like sort of our age or people that we know in bands, if they have started getting big, it tends to be like, oh, some A&R man happened to see them.
Yeah, but it's like that doesn't. If you're striving for longevity, then like if you're hyped or like you do really well very suddenly, especially if you're very young, then you know, you like in a few years down the line, like you'll be fucked, you know.
Yeah.
Like if you just keep ploughing on, like the more time you exist, the more people will be aware of you. Yeah. That's like the equation, I think.
Yeah. Well, I always go the Pulp thing. It's like they were around for like 15 years before they were a bit famous at all. So it's like, oh, we'll just have to keep doing it for 15 years. That's the cut-off point.
I don't expect to ever suddenly become huge in the way that Pulp did, or like have a hit. But it's more like The Fall, you know, out of just being going around for years and years and being like thinking about the economics of it, you know, instead of just being ridiculous and like wasting loads of money. Yeah. Because they've got a very devout fan base that will keep coming back every year, and that's how it's economically viable for them.
I was going to ask a question that involved The Fall somehow.
Good.
Here's a bit something you probably get a bit bored of again about being asked.
Right.
You sort of hit an indie cool peak by getting Stewart Lee on a record, right? How are you going to top that into?
that was like 5 years ago now, wasn't it?
I know it's a long time ago, but you know what I mean? What I wrote down here, what you're going to do, you're going to get Marky Smith just coming back, basically.
That would be cool.
Shout it while you're trying to record a record.
That would be pretty funny.
That would be funny.
The sort of the next sort of like indie cool thing.
we have been talking about, you know, possible collaborations with like, you know, sax players or like rappers or it's something I'd definitely like to do in the future. But we didn't do the Stewart Lee thing for like cred or whatever. Yeah. We were just like big fans and thought it would be funny.
Yeah,
I knew they lived like down the road from the studio. So
it was more of we just sent an email like, oh haha, of course he's not going to reply, and then we were like, oh okay, cool. He showed up.
I personally think it'd be a bit shit if Marky Smith was on a record.
Why?
That's not his own.
Well, no, just for us. I don't know. I don't think it would be.
Would work.
Yeah, I don't think it would be good. I think it would just detract.
Yeah.
I don't know really, because I've heard him on some odd stuff.
That gorilla thing was weird.
Yeah, the
kind of worked on that.
Yeah, him headlining Glastonbury with that is amazing.
I think he'd hate us and yell at us as well.
Yeah, but that's the whole experience.
It'd be quite funny.
If you were to meet Marky Smith and he didn't yell at you,
what would be the point?
I've heard such like differing, you know, accounts of him. Like apparently he can be very gentlemanly, and other times he can try and.
It's like he judges you in the first 5 seconds.
Yeah.
You have to be like on it.
I mean, have you seen that video online? There's a like a collaboration project called Mutation.
Yeah. He's like just terrorising the sound. Yeah. Sounds like the fucking Smurfs.
We can probably stop calling Marky Smith now. He's not actually in the band. So.
You've come across as very opinionated about the genre you fall into.
Yeah.
Because there was a thing a few years ago about being called indie pop or something.
I think it was frustration at lazy journalism more than anything. Because so often you know, if you send a press release out, and obviously people are going to take parts of that and kind of assume that that's what you want to be talked about. how you want to be talked about. But with like the second album and with live shows, there were times when people just didn't even show up to live shows and wrote reviews about them, and were just saying, oh, twinkly pop, and like we just didn't sound like that live at all, and we just and like
I can understand where it came from, because like at the time of the first album we weren't really old enough to have assimilated enough influences to properly have our own style yet, and we were just learning to become a band as well. It took a while to do that, so we might have come across as a little bit of a shambles.
And a bit like sort of cutesy, which comes across quite twee, yeah.
And just physically looking very young. But I just think we're a lot more ambitious than what the term indie pop
tends to mean, yeah.
So how do you see yourself? I mean, I wouldn't say you're indie pop yourself.
No.
Because, not just because of that, just because I don't know what. Because indie pop to me is what I listened to when I was a kid.
Well, indie pop, it got linked to C86 stuff, I guess, and I know there was an element of that, and especially in the first album, it was a lot more sweet and sort of sweet and young, and so it made sense to be linked in with that. But then as soon as you started doing any new stuff, it was quite clear that wasn't the avenue we were taking, and then with the second album, it's not that at all. How would you describe us, Ollie? I feel like you have a good genre.
How do you think?
Yeah.
You're right. What do you think? I'm just going to have the broadest term and say indie rock.
That's just changing it very slightly.
that to me
that just makes you think they're libertines.
Or
alternative
90s.
Rock. I thought the indie bit was the problem you had, because
I didn't mind the pop part at all. Garage pop.
I don't know. Why are you asking me?
Rock pop. Because it's like Avril Lavigne. I don't know. I just wondered if you had a good version of the genre.
To me, I guess it's post-punk, and it's very eclectic, and a lot of thought goes into it. But it's also pop, and that we try and make it accessible. So post-punk pop kind of makes sense to me.
I've heard interviews, read interviews, where you've said you said.
Yeah.
Everybody else is music nerds except for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. What constitutes a music nerd?
They just know more about music than I do.
I'm not a nerd.
And
sure.
No, I don't mean. Nerd isn't in a bad way, but as in
someone who is knowledgeable and enthusiastic about.
Like if someone's a science nerd, Brian Cox a nerd.
What bands are you nerdy about?
In a good way, as I'm saying, it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying I'm not one.
Everything.
Yeah, sorry.
He knows that. I've never met anyone who knows so many facts about music. When it comes on, it's like, oh, this happened, and the guitarist is in that band, and it's just it's quite something. I enjoy music.
Give us a random music.
Go on. Quick!
Oh no, this is like a job interview I had recently where it was tell me a joke. I had a nervous breakdown interview. And
You just have to think of one part of it.
Can you give me a bit more time? Sorry. Can you just give me a band? And
yeah, go on.
Talking
Heads.
There you go.
Talking Heads.
Someone.
See, this is a bad example. It's more like he'll come out with out of the blue, come out with stuff. I'm just thinking in general, they're all very more knowledgeable music.
Why don't you find?
I think you're quite knowledgeable.
If you're in a band, you must like music.
I like our band.
See,
I'm joking. I do like music. I do. I don't. I'm reading the Factory Records book, and there are certain things I'm really interested in reading about, and then other things I'm just I don't give a shit. I like the sound of music. I don't need to know exactly what pedal is used.
Is that what you mean when you come saying about nerds?
Well, I mean, you used to literally just sit there and watch and this isn't but music documentary, not just like I've seen the whole of Anthology. I'll take that.
I think you regret saying it now, don't you?
Well, no. Because the thing is, I don't know as much about music. People always go, oh, you know that band there from I don't know, somewhere in East London, blah, 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 this name, and I'm just sort of going I've probably met them or seen them, but I don't know.
You've probably got it at home.
I've probably heard it, and I know them if
But you're also talking more music pedals and things like that.
That's just.
So do you tend to do the thing that I do, where I'll just walk into a gig and stare at the music pedals?
I'm not.
I do that. I'm quite.
I just mean so you could happily watch an 8-minute video of someone testing out a pedal before you buy it. So I know it's just a sensible thing to do, but for me, I was just saying that no.
I don't get obsessive about gear, or I don't dream about owning a certain kind of guitar or whatever. It's more just like, I'm definitely interested in sound, and like they're just tools, aren't they? Like
music is really boring, actually, isn't it?
Well, like you wanted like be something to do with that bass magazine, didn't you? Do you know what I mean? That's like a level of like knowing about bass.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I absolutely hate gear. I never wanted to buy bass pedals ever.
Yeah.
We're not like muso people at all.
No, they just know a lot more about music. That's all I meant, is they just know a lot more about music than I do.
That's all. That's just because I've read an interview where you said.
Oh God.
You've not continued to like bands from like most bands from your teens. Is that true, or? Is it just, yeah. Why is that? Is that just because I can understand liking more bands than your teens, but why do you sort of?
There are some that stick.
Oh, definitely, but I mean, I don't believe like when people say that like there's some kind of heightened emotional state when you're like a 15-year-old, where that's when music means the most to you in your life. Like you can relate to, you know, people like kind of fetishize like.
So what sort of things have you left behind? As in, this could be for all of you as well, if this applies to all of you. But I used to be really into the Smiths at that age, and they don't really do anything for me anymore.
I mean, like, but you always do embarrassing stuff when you're a teenager. There's a lot of stuff that you kind of think like, I never went to that gig, and hope no one ever took a photo of you at that gig. Like, I went to a Boy Kill Boy install once. That's pretty fucking embarrassing. Like, I really liked them when I was 14, but then I haven't carried that on with it. But then there are some bands who I discovered it then, and I still really like. Who's the more embarrassing people do you like?
It doesn't have to be embarrassing, it's just music that
you kind of lost.
You lost, yeah. This is just me being curious more than anything. I might never actually use it.
But I kind of disagree as well with them.
Yeah.
I do fetishize it, like, because I just feel like there was less intellectualizing when I was listening to music.
I think
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like,
I was just like. And now I'm like, bass line's really good. I wonder how I can recreate that.
I kind of wish I was a kid again, because then you don't analyse it as much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I know there's a reason why they promote like sort of One Direction style pop to children, because it's just easier to understand them when they're that age. It's just like things that are fun with like nice guitar chord changes and like harmonies. It's sort of like built in to enjoy. So I think it's nice of being able to just enjoy stuff. There are so many things that it comes to the radio, I'm like, okay, I like this, and then it'll be someone that's just too embarrassing to admit that you like. It's like that whole.
Is it ever too embarrassing to admit though? Do you think?
What?
I don't. So what's wrong with Taylor Swift?
Well, nothing. Do you know what I mean? Though, but it's one of those things where it's like you can be like, yeah, and then if a certain crowd of people will be like.
Is it because of the crowd of people, or like the bands
not
you hang around?
Crowd,
Not this crowd.
It's kind of like.
You can't keep secrets, I suppose.
You don't have all the same friends that you had when you were at school. Like you might keep a few, and then like later on realise, oh, some of them were dicks.
Yeah.
Like that.
Whereas I think everyone's different in that sense as well, because I've kept a lot of friends from when I was that age. So yeah, you kind of just refine it. But then I think I've stuck with a lot more.
You might be into music your friends are into, but then you.
Or just the music you like with your friends. Like the music you like. It's like, oh, I really love that. Like I was obsessed with Arctic Monkeys.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, oh, okay, so I won't know anymore.
You're off to the Comedian tomorrow, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Been before?
Yeah, a few times. We love it there.
It's
really good sound.
It's the weirdest place.
Yeah, it's very, very strange. Isn't it above a subway?
Next to a Clifton Card.
That's the one, yeah.
Something like that, yeah. It's just. I was going to ask if you've been before, because when I went it's like, they don't signpost it.
No, it's really hard to find. You have to like properly look up.
It's like this weird secret meeting place.
Yeah, it is.
Oh no.
I like it though.
I'm trying.
I've walked past it about 10 times before I found it. I've run out of things to say, but thanks for talking to me.
Alright.
There you go. That's about it, and about as professional as I get. You can find Evans of Death on Facebook or Twitter, so stick that in your Google, and you can buy their albums via cargorecordsdirect.co.uk, as well as some of their 7-inches. If you're looking for the song with Stewart Lee on, you want the Crying song, which is the B-side to Catch Your Cold, so look out for that. I think that's it for the episode. Next time I'll be talking to Jesus Carfish, an art rock band from Leicester. So if you haven't heard of them, please come back and check them out. And to find out when that episode is released, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at diagonal_monkey, and you can also follow us on SoundCloud and subscribe on iTunes. See you next time.
Diagonal monkey.
Terrible. I'm not going to be able to use any of this one.
Are you going to transcribe it, you think?
Yeah.
So,
I think it's going to have to be, isn't it?
Laughter in brackets.
Yeah, in like square brackets, yeah. Bits of giggles.